Yo, what is going on, guys? nKuch here, and today I'm going to be showing you a little bit of a review on the Doctrine of Passing. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is an auto rifle that you get from Trials of Osiris, and there's been quite a lot of hype over this weapon in recent times. A lot of YouTubers have been making videos about it. A lot of people are starting to use this thing, and for good reason. It is actually a very good weapon. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys and say go out and use this because it's the best weapon. It's not the case at all, but it's very refreshing to use because it's an auto rifle that can actually compete with other weapons. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I personally haven't used an auto rifle since vanilla Destiny. For those of you who are new to the game and don't know when that was, it's pretty much the period between when the game first came out and between the first expansion, The Dark Below. Now, back then, the Suros regime exotic auto rifle was the king of Crucible. That was the meta. It was a very powerful weapon. It did like 43 per headshot. It shot fast. The stability was great. And hand cannons were not used at all. It was just really the Suros regime. And then a massive nerf came and wiped auto rifles all the way down to the bottom of the food chain. Nobody ever used auto rifles, at least in my experience. I didn't ever touch them, and I didn't come across them until now. And that's really because this weapon has a very different type of playstyle to the Suros regime or most auto rifles. It shoots very fast. A lot of people used to call these bullet hoses, but that's no longer the case. I mean, if you land every single one of your headshots with this weapon, you can probably compete with the last word up close and personal. So it's a very promising weapon if you land all your headshots. Don't get me wrong, it's a great weapon, but you really need some good perks on it to make this weapon an absolute beast in Crucible. I personally ended up getting mine from the Trials of Osiris Flawless Lighthouse chest. It dropped at 319. It's the Adept version, but you don't need the Adept version to get the perks that I got. Now, my first perk was Persistence. Obviously, the longer you hold the trigger down, the more stable the weapon gets. Then you have Rodeo, which just overall reduces the recoil pattern and makes it a little bit more smooth and easier to deal with, which is great, especially because this weapon doesn't have far range capabilities, so you need as much stability as possible. The weapon just fires so fast that it's hard to control without those perks. And then down the middle, I ended up getting Braced Frame and also Small Bore. Now, Braced Frame just gives me a ton of stability, but I opted for Small Bore instead because it actually gives me range and stability. Now, obviously not as much stability, but the range is definitely something that I was looking for because I'd rather have this weapon be just as potent at a little bit of a longer distance. That would really kind of separate this weapon from, things like the last word. So that's exactly why I chose that setup, and I got a perfect roll on it, to be honest. Before this gameplay comes to an end, I'm gonna leave you guys with my final verdict and my final thoughts on the weapon. For those of you who haven't used auto rifles in a very long time, such as myself, where I haven't touched any auto rifles since vanilla Destiny, I highly recommend giving this thing a spin. At first, you're gonna have some difficulties because the recoil is all over the place, just like this shot right here. A little embarrassing, but I haven't been using auto rifles for a very long time, so it's just refreshing. I highly recommend you guys try it out and have some fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe for more daily Destiny content, and as always, nKuch out.
Yeah.